big hopes for a bounce-back year, and here they are 3-3 and just haven't played particularly well. TCU will have the ball first. Utah won the toss and deferred, so the Horned Frogs offense will come out on the field, and the quarterback that Sherry was just talking about, Josh Hoover, leads away.
That's right, just a sophomore, and he's really doing some great things this season. He's third in all of college football when it comes to yards and touchdowns. Now, listen, at times he does show his youthfulness, and he will make some suspect decisions. But when he's good, he's as good as anybody in the country, and he's proven that with the numbers he's putting up thus far.
And those turnovers really have torpedoed so much of the good stuff that TCU has accomplished. Horned Frogs with the first play from scrimmage and a throw. A nice catch under some duress. Savion Williams, who's another one of the playmakers. We highlighted Jack Besh, but there are very few across all of college football who are more talented than that guy.
No question. One of the most explosive wide receivers in the entire country. 6'5", 225 pounds.
And quick tempo. Williams is going to get a play running the ball around the right side and shows off that speed. Another TCU first down.
And that's something TCU has shown every week. They really want to get the football in Williams' hands early and often, whether it's in the pass game, speed sweeps, or direct snaps. So I'm not surprised to see Williams get a heavy dose with the first 2 touches of the night.
That's 2 pretty good plays to start the night for TCU against a Utah team whose defense has done a lot of good, but hasn't been as dominant as they're used to seeing defense played in these parts. So Hoover from the shotgun, a little play fake, and he's going to dump it short to Cam Cook out of the backfield with room along the sideline. Takes a big hit, but stayed in bounds to get the extra yardage and get another first down.
So TCU is coming off of a bye week, and I just saw growth out of that sophomore quarterback. Nothing's open downfield. Give Utah's secondary a lot of credit. So Hoover moves through his progression. He doesn't force the football down the field early in the football game, finds his outlet, and picks up positive yards.
That's 3 plays, 3 first downs, 10 yards, 15 yards, 12 yards so far for the Horned Frogs. And Hoover, at least for this play, is over on the sideline. So you got Hoss Haney, who's a really good running quarterback in there. The ball goes to Cam Cook, and they lose yardage. And now Hoover will come back on the field.
Yeah, when you're going sideways against this Utah defense, trying to get a sweep out to the perimeter, it's going to be really tough to deal with the big fellas inside for Utah. Their defensive front, one of the best in the entire Big 12.
And look, I know sometimes this stuff gets scripted ahead of time, but you had a tremendous start to the game. 3 plays that could hardly have gone better, and then you take your quarterback off the field and you lose 4 yards. Hoover back out there and rolling right, going to throw short to Cook, who gets swallowed up. Did not get back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe got a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, and this is a position, if you're TCU, you definitely don't want to be in on the road. Utah, the best 3rd down defense in the Big 12 Conference. This is really where they feast. If you're not successful on 1st and 2nd down and you get into obvious pass situations, this is when Utah becomes elite. You
got Trent Battle, who's just getting healthy for TCU. He's in the backfield. Here comes the pressure. Hoover throws, and it is caught. What a catch. Sprawling out J.P. Richardson. A really good throw under pressure, and then a great catch.
Unbelievable throw under extreme duress. The Utes elect to bring in all-out pressure, a cover 0 pressure, leaving all their defensive backs in one-on-one situations with no help. J.P. Richardson does an unbelievable job on the outbreaking pattern to pick up a first down when they were facing 3rd and long. 17 yards for the Horned Frogs. At least 1 catch in 34 straight games now for Richardson. And not many more spectacular than that one. Little misdirection. Hoover throws over the middle. Incomplete. And Williams had a step there. Got a hand on it, but it falls to the turf. Yeah, I want to go back to that 3rd down conversion, something that doesn't happen often. Keep an eye on J.P. Richardson working this out pattern. Like I said, Utah's going to bring in all-out pressure. Richardson's in one-on-one coverage. Hoover does a great job of letting go of the football early, putting a little bit of air on the throw to allow his receiver to run underneath it.
But after the incompletion to Williams, now it's 2nd and 10. Just inside the Utah 25. First drive of the night. Hoover in the pocket, throws across the middle. That's that running back Trent Battle, who's a very nice weapon out of the backfield in the pass game. And another TCU first down. That's 16 more yards.
Hoover coming out slinging after the bye week, doing a great job of seeing the field, checking the football down underneath the Battle.
And here's where they love to go. Hurry up, and Hoover loses the ball. Utah falls on it, and it's like this first drive sums up TCU's season. A lot of good, all the playmakers, some great throws, and another Horned Frogs turnover.
Unbelievable. You couldn't have had a better start for the TCU Horned Frogs. Josh Hoover bobbles the football. Turnover, Utah football when we come back. Bobbles the football. He made the right read by pulling and trying to keep the football. Just bobbles it at the mesh point, and now it's Utah football.
So their true freshman quarterback, Isaac Wilson's going to hand the ball off. Mekhi Bernard will get the first carry of the night. He's having a spectacular year for the Utes, and you figure Utah's going to lean on him a lot tonight with their kid now taking over. And basically they've said he's our starter tonight. He's our starter for the rest of the year. He's very young, inexperienced, but you talked about it right off the top, Brock. He's got a lot of ability.
No question, and there's a lot of clarity surrounding the quarterback position now that you know Wilson's going to be the guy moving forward. If you protect around him, make clean, defined reads, he can sling it with the best of them.
From the shotgun, he'll play fake it here and throw it quickly out to the right side. And a good open field tackle there. Dorian Singer's having a big year for Utah, gets 5.
And that's what I mean by he can sling it. He can make quick, decisive reads and get the throws out quickly out of his hand. I think he's at his best when he's in the RPO scheme. Utah, everyone knows it. They want to run the football, but go ahead and take a single wide receiver route out there, just like he had with Singer. So if it's available because the corner's playing off and soft, go ahead and take that throw all night.
Third down and 3. Utah's not been very good on third downs, and they have been terrible in the red zone. Those have been the huge problems for their offense. Kind of an unusual play there, trying to get the ball to their all-around do-everything tight end Brant Keithy, and he went backwards and lost yardage.
Well, there was a lot of early penetration by big number 95, Marcus Deal, from the defensive tackle position. Got into the backfield early, and then Jamel Johnson came in from the strong safety position to force the punt on the opening drive for the Utes. This is a big deal for the Horned Frogs. They've really struggled stopping the run, getting off the field on third downs this year. Great opening series for the defense.
So now they should get the ball in good field position. The punt's blocked. It's on the turf, and TCU falls on it. So their special teams comes up with a huge play, and the turnover is almost forgotten because the defense stopped him, and then the special teams blocks the punt.
This crowd is silenced. They can't believe what they're seeing. 3 and out by their offense. Then you get a punt blocked. TCU, phenomenal start to the game. Now getting the football with a short field. Looks like number 0, Shad Banks, coming in on the block. Great play by the Horned Frogs to give their offense a short field early in this football game.
Wow. Utah for so many years under Kyle Whittingham, one of the deans of college football, they have prided themselves on great special teams play. That will not make him happy. So now excellent field position for TCU, almost like they never gave it up. 9 minutes to go first quarter. They start at the 15-yard line. Josh Hoover back to pass. Over the top, incomplete. Looking for Williams, who is covered well.
Really good coverage downfield, and this is something that TCU has not seen a lot of this year. The Utes defense, they're going to play a lot of press man coverage. They're going to get up at the line of scrimmage and challenge wide receivers and see if they can get releases and get downfield. Savion Williams really had glove coverage on him downfield. It's going to be a big challenge for the TCU wide receivers tonight going against this defense.
Looking for some help from the crowd, which is always a factor here at Rice-Eccles. 2nd and 10. Cook in the backfield. He'll get the ball. Cam Cook. It's hit right across the line of scrimmage. Powers forward for a couple.
Alakai Gilman, the free safety coming down for the Utes. He's in the hole. No one blocks him. Looked like the offensive guard for TCU needed to work up to the safety in the zone scheme. Nevertheless, he was free in the hole to force the third down.
I think Karene Reed was in on that play as well. And Utes are very happy to have him back. Utah has been an excellent third down defense. This is a big play early in this game. Hoover throws, pass caught, and stumbling ahead. Richardson gets enough for the first down. He fought through that tackle and got just enough.
Great job by Josh Hoover. This is the second time tonight on third down where he's beat the second level pressure that Utah is bringing. You're going to see a couple linebackers blitz right up the middle. Josh Hoover finding J.P. Richardson down the flat to get a fresh set of downs.
Now it's 1st and goal from inside the 5. Hoover rolling right. Hoover throws, end zone, incomplete. Looking for Jack Besh, who's been his go-to guy in this part of the field. Already 7 touchdown catches in 6 games for Besh.
Yeah, just having a phenomenal year. Jack Besh, big physical wide receiver, does a great job on his switch release route, getting to the back pylon. The throw just sails a little bit on Josh Hoover. Besh had a step for a second if Hoover was able to bring that football down. This is an area of the field that TCU has had a lot of success in this season, throwing for a lot of touchdowns.
Williams in motion. Handoff Cook, who stumbles and probably lost a yard, maybe even 2. Well, that was almost another disastrous play in this part of the field.
Yeah, that play never had a chance to get started. You see the Utes just winning the line of scrimmage from the snap of the ball. Talking to the TCU coaching staff, Sonny Dykes said that he had a lot of very physical practices throughout the bye week because they knew that they would have a great challenge on the line of scrimmage tonight against the Utes. Utah winning that last down.
So it's 3rd and goal. TCU's gone backwards. You got to give Utah a chance to sub out. So the play clock all the way down to 2, down to 1. They snap it quickly. Hoover, little pump fake, throws, and it is incomplete. More good coverage there. Intended for Dylan Wright. Incomplete. It's 4th down.
That was great coverage by the freshman Cameron Calhoun. Utah, if you didn't know, now you do. They like to bring pressure. Once again, bringing an all-out blitz, leaving their secondary in one-on-one situations. But that Utah secondary, just glove coverage, nowhere to go with the football. Did a great job on sudden change, forcing the field goal.
Field goals have not been automatic for TCU. The freshman kicker, Kyle Lemmerman, lines up for a short one, 23 yards. That one's blocked. We've had 2 block kicks already in the first quarter. And if you thought we were going to have a normal late night game here at Utah, you're wrong.
Things get wild on the West Coast under the lights. Te'o Johnson coming through with the blocked field goal. 0-0 ball game in Salt Lake.
One so far, nobody's really dominated this one. It has been a very strange start to this game. A blocked punt and a blocked short field goal. Wilson, a keeper after some good ball handling, and he stays in bounds, then takes a hit that's going to draw a penalty flag. Nnamdi Obiizer came over and clocked Isaac Wilson, I think after he'd sort of shuffled his way out of bounds. That's going to be a personal foul.
Yeah, really undisciplined play by Obiizer. Going to tack on 15 after a great play by Utah. Great job by Wilson pulling that football with the corner crashing down on the running back. It's just a play that's not necessary. Wilson's clearly out of bounds. I get it. Trying to send a message early to the young quarterback. It's a physical game, but you have to keep your emotions in check.
So 11-yard run and then 15 yards on the penalty. And Sonny Dykes is, how could you possibly be arguing that call?
Yeah, it's frustrating. When you look at TCU's 3 losses and the mistakes that happen in those games, it's penalties and turnovers that keep putting you behind the 8 ball. And it's very obvious why Sonny Dykes is disappointed in his linebacker.
So Utah gets some breathing room. They went 3 and out on their first drive from deep in their own territory and had the punt blocked, got away with it after their defense got the stop and blocked the field goal attempt. So now the Utes out just short of the 35-yard line. Wilson, quick drop and throws behind his receiver, incomplete, trying to hit Money Parks. And let's get a quick update in studio with Matt Barry. All right, Matt, so obviously we'll keep paying attention to that game. Iowa State and UCF in the Big 12. A big game getting late with UCF leading on the road against the team that most people think is now the favorites, the current favorites in this chaotic conference. That run play to Bernard stuffed. It'll be third down for Utah. How do you figure the Big 12 right now? I mean, it is crazy.
Get back to me in about a month. I don't even want to talk about it right now. There's so much football to play in that conference. There's going to be so many ups and downs and wins and losses. Get back to me in mid-November.
The team down the road in Provo, if Iowa State were to lose that game, and we'll keep you posted on that one, BYU would be the last remaining undefeated in the Big 12. 3rd and 11 for Wilson and Utah. Here comes some pressure. Wilson tried to get away, does get away, and now is going to get tossed to the turf and lose a whole bunch of yardage. There is a flag down near the line of scrimmage. Marcel Brooks, one of the edge rushers for TCU. They're trying to sort out the penalty. I would think it's against Utah.
Offense number 2. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Well, Utah's offense just stuck in the mud. 3rd down really has been their Achilles heel all season. Converting sub 40%, you're going to see pressure off the edge, and that's really what gets this whole play started for TCU. Pressure comes, running back doesn't do a great job of picking it up. Wilson does his best to fight out of it, but the TCU defense rallies to make the sack and forces Utah into the punting situation.
Unusual for Mekhi Bernard, the running back, to miss that block. This punt not blocked, but also a low line drive kick that might be returnable. Richardson, who's a very dangerous punt returner, gets pushed out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So the Horned Frogs get the ball back. They'll have it when we come back right after this. All right, late night college football here in Salt Lake City. Utah and TCU in the Big 12, finishing off a heck of a day from start to finish. TCU gets the ball back. Cam Cook with a carry on first down and some positive yardage out to the 43, maybe 44-yard line.
A lot of moving parts there pre-snap. Josh Hoover trying to get his guys lined up. But that's a good run on 1st and 10 for this Horned Frogs team. Something that they're going to need more of tonight on the road, going against a very, very good defense. Like I've said earlier, they like to play press man coverage outside. You can't make it a throw fest. You have to establish the run early.
Cook leaves the backfield, so he's out as a wide receiver. Hoover, and that one incomplete, intended for Williams. He threw a fastball in there, and Williams could not grab it.
Yeah, that ball kind of jumped on Williams. I think he was surprised that it was coming to him. It looked like he thought the football was going to go out to the flat where Hoover had a wide open target. Ball kind of jumped on him last minute. And 3rd down is an area that both teams have had a lot of success in this year. TCU already doing a good job tonight. And then you look at Utah, like I've said before, they lead the Big 12 Conference in getting off the field.
Strength on strength here. 3rd and a long 6 for the Horned Frogs. Hoover looked like they were setting up a screen, but it was extremely well defended. And the pass incomplete. It's 4th down.
That was a really good job by middle linebacker Lander Barton. He diagnosed the play early. He stayed with Cam Cook the entire time. You're right, Flem. TCU was trying to get a halfback screen started out to the perimeter, and Lander Barton, right on the right side of your screen, sees the halfback the entire way and forces the punt by the Horned Frogs.
It's a good play by him. He's a very talented player who probably hasn't been playing his best football lately. This punt angled towards the 15, going back to take it. Pittman going backwards inside the 5. Well, he'll be tackled. My goodness. I said Pittman. I don't think that was Micah Pittman. A different punt returner there for Utah, and that did not go well. Well, how about our Now What moments, brought to you by Prudential. We usually don't run this early in the game. We've had a lot of Now What moments already.
Yeah, we've had a lot of chaos. First offensive series, and then rather than getting points off of that turnover, Utah returns the favor and blocks the field goal.
So now you got your true freshman quarterback under center inside the 5. Bernard got through the hole. What a run from Mekhi Bernard out to the 20. 15-yard gain. That's a huge play for Utah.
It was a really good job by right guard Moko Fisi. Somebody that's been playing really, really well for this Utah football team for a number of years. And this is something that the Utah football team is just going to need. With a true freshman quarterback in, they're really going to need to rely on this run game, not just tonight, but moving forward throughout conference play. And as that run game goes, you're going to get more defensive bodies into the box, and then Isaac Wilson can take his shots downfield.
What a year Mekhi Bernard's having. He's been around for a long time. He's had a lot of different jobs in this Utah program, including in a Rose Bowl playing defensive back because he had so many injuries. He's the primary running back, and man, has he been good.
Yeah, you want to talk about a ball player. I love that you bring up the fact that he started the Rose Bowl at cornerback, and not only did he just start the game, he led the team in tackles.
Yeah, missed games last year, missed basically the whole year, had a horrible scooter injury where his football career and future was in jeopardy. So he's come back this year, had to earn the job in fall camp, did so. And he's been great. This quick hitter from Wilson and an immediate tackle in the open field. Dejon Stanley with the catch, but stopped well short. It'll be third down. Let's go down to Sherry.
Well, Dave, head coach Kyle Whittingham said Mekhi Bernard just, quote, absolutely defined his role as RB1, as you guys were just talking about. He did say fall camp he was good, but just not good enough. But now he's playing the best ball of his life. And I talked to him this week. He said the process he goes through, always making sure he knows the down and distance, looking at the defense, trying to do his job, look for his reads. He goes through a checklist to make sure he can get the first down.
And you see that red C on the front of his jersey. He was voted a team captain this week in the absence of Cam Rising. Wilson's going down, and Marcel Brooks has himself another sack. And maybe Wilson got back across the line of scrimmage, so it could be that technically that won't go down as a sack, but it's fourth down, and Utah's going to have to punt.
Marcel Brooks, defensive end, just relentless off the edge, winning with speed, not giving up on the play, nowhere to go with the football down the field. Give a lot of credit to that Horned Frogs secondary. Isaac Wilson tried working through his progressions, just nowhere to go with the football, and Brooks forces the punt.
He beat a guy who's been one of the best tackles in the country, Spencer Fano. Fair catch by Richardson at about the 27-yard line with a minute and a half to go in a crazy first quarter without any points on the board. Thursday night, we got a big game on Thursday night on ESPN and the ACC. Undefeated number 20 Pitt at home against Syracuse. The Orange are 5-1. 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. That is a very important game in the ACC.
No question. And if you haven't watched Pitt play football this year, make sure you tune into that one. They have a running back in Des Reed, maybe one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic playmakers in all of college football. A lot of fun to watch.
So that's Thursday night coming up this week. Josh Hoover and the TCU offense back on the field. They moved the ball in this first quarter. Have nothing to show for it. Battle in the backfield with Hoover. Back to pass, throws, and he's got Richardson over the middle for another leaping catch into Utah territory.
Well, first of all, you have to give the offensive line a ton of credit on that play. This is a longer developing play. Hoover works right, goes back to his left, and then he comes back right late to J.P. Richardson right down the seam. Utah electing to play a zone defense. Great recognition by Josh Hoover.
That was 26 yards. Handoff to Battle, who gets tripped up. Brock, we're in the first quarter. That's already the 7th play of 10 or more yards for the TCU offense.
Well, listen, the Horned Frogs have done everything right tonight on offense except score points when they get down into the red zone. They're driving the field. They're running the football. Josh Hoover's very in control of this football game. They just haven't been able to capitalize when they get down into the red zone.
A turnover inside the 10, a blocked field goal inside the 10. Pressure picked up over the top, intended for Williams, incomplete. He tried to adjust mid-flight, and he got his hands on the ball, just could not quite catch it.
Yeah, that's Smith Snowden in coverage. Really good job by the Utah defensive back. Utah continues to challenge these wide receivers with man-to-man coverage and bring in pressure from the linebacker position. Snowden had no help in coverage. He was one-on-one outside, and right now Utah is winning those battles.
See the discrepancy in total yards. And it feels like the whole game so far has been played on this side of the field. Basically, it has been. Hoover throws middle, and that pass is caught for another TCU first down. The tight end Drake Dabney, who has sort of surprisingly not been involved much in the TCU offense. He's a good player.
No, that's a great pickup by Josh Hoover and his offense, finding his tight end Dabney right over the middle, working on the middle linebacker. You mentioned Dabney, quiet year, all-conference player a season ago. I just think it's because TCU has so many talented wide receivers. Simple.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Kyle Whittingham. TCU ball as we start quarter number 2, still 0-0 despite TCU moving the ball. Hoover down the left sideline, and a catch and a big hit along the sideline. Was he in bounds? He was. Eric McAllister, what an effort there to catch. Now TCU, they were holding the snap, and TCU's offensive lineman jumped off sides.
Offense number 56.
So a false start
Penalty remains first down.
against Ben Taylor Whitfield. Well, it was a tremendous catch by Eric McAllister.
One of the best catches I've seen all year. Tight coverage, like I said. Very small window to throw this football into. Great concentration by McAllister. Unbelievable how he pins the football against the defender. What a catch.
Amazing. He had the ball pinned against Zamiah Vaughn's helmet with his arm wrapped all the way around his head. Oh, first and goal, but backed up. A handoff. Battle tries to squirt through and stays on his feet. Wow, great run by Trent Battle. Utah, very uncharacteristically, has not lately been a great tackling team. There were a couple missed tackles on that run.
No, and that was a big question coming in tonight. They missed 19 tackles on the road against Arizona State a week ago. Their team goal each week is to be single digits, so definitely has been an Achilles heel for this defense.
Battle motions into the backfield. Hoover going to throw middle, and the pass was tipped, I think, and then it ricocheted off the foot of a Utah defender. He was trying to go to Jack Besh. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Yeah, quarterback and receiver just not on the same page. I think Hoover thought Jack Besh was going to keep moving across the formation, and Besh kind of sat it down. He felt a soft spot. I don't blame him. Defensive back kind of got him off. Besh, a big physical wide receiver. Fortunate for not throwing an interception on that play.
So 3rd and goal. TCU 0 for 2 in the red zone already tonight.
I expect Utah to bring pressure. Can TCU win one-on-one outside?
Hoover has time, throws, and it's knocked down again and almost intercepted. Hoover tried to deflect it, and I don't know, Utah came real close. It did hit the turf. Great effort by Lander Barton to try to intercept it. Another failed trip in the red zone, at least to get into the end zone. They'll try a field goal.
It's a great effort by 57 Keanu Tanuvasu, who's back in the lineup this week. He was out last week. Somebody that Utah, having him back in the lineup, they're a different team defensively, making a big play and forcing the field goal.
Good job by Hoover there to knock that ball down. After the deflection, field goal, this time up and good. a normal special teams play. A 23-yard field goal for the first 3 points of the night. Horned Frogs move it up and down the field. Finally have something to show for it.
Does Miami go into the standings? Still undefeated. Great game on the road today against Louisville.
All the dominance of the SEC, and the SEC has great teams. The top 3 teams in the country could be from the Big Ten.
Yeah,
as of tomorrow.
I just think there's a lot of parity in college football this year. Every week has been so fun to watch. There's ups and downs and big games. I mean, just look at the ABC slate that we had today. Bama and Tennessee. I mentioned the Miami-Louisville game, and now tonight with Texas, Georgia. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
ETN for Georgia, who have a couple rushing touchdowns. I think he has 3 for Georgia tonight. 3 total touchdowns anyway. All right, this is the best field position for Utah. They've been pinned deep every time they've had the ball. A quick hitter from Wilson out to Charlie Vincent. They're trying some different guys in the backfield to help get this Utah offense started. That's a gain of 4.
I really like that play call. Great drive starter for the Utah Utes. I've said it all night. Isaac Wilson, if you give him a clean, defined read where he only has to read half of the field, he can make quality throws. He's got a quick release. He's a smart guy. He learns from mistakes. Keep it simple with him, and he can be very efficient.
Second down for Utah. Handoff. Bernard, big hole. There goes Mekhi Bernard. And he does not go down easily. Bullies his way to midfield. A big run for Bernard, and the best play by far for Utah tonight.
Well, big Caleb Lomu, the left tackle, 71. You're going to see him pull down the line of scrimmage and lead up for Bernard.
Now Utah taking a page out of TCU's playbook, going quick tempo after the long gain. A catch for Pittman and a short gain on first down.
Yeah, you're going to see a great shot of the kick out block by Lomu, and then Bernard does the rest. Really isn't even touched until he gets to that third level where the safeties are playing. Great execution by that offensive line for Utah.
There's the longtime offensive coordinator, Andy Ludwig, up in the box, trying to get things figured out with his young quarterback. This is the first time Utah's been in TCU territory tonight. Horned Frogs have run 19 plays in Utah territory. Play fake. Wilson had his man wide open, and he overshoots him. Intended for Dorian Singer. There is a penalty flag back in the backfield, so I think even if he'd connected, it was going to be negated. That was a bit of an overthrow.
Holding offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Well, that's the left tackle, Caleb Lomu. We were just talking about him because he delivered such a great block on the explosive gain on the run play. I don't agree with that call. I didn't see any holding there on Lomu.
None.
Maybe the officials got the number mixed up, but the holding definitely did not come from the left tackle position.
He sure looks the part, doesn't he? Number 71. Utah thinks he's got a chance to be one of their greats.
Oh, he's the real deal, no question about it.
Wilson on second down and long, dancing in the pocket. Wilson trying to find somebody to throw it to and takes a huge hit. My goodness, just got decked by Devin Deal.
Yeah, that was a monster hit. You don't want to see your quarterback take too many of those. Wilson nowhere to go with the football down the field, has to tuck it and run, and Deal just being relentless on the play. An all-conference player a season ago at Tulane, transferred in this season to be a Horned Frog. Great job in pursuit.
So just when Utah finally made it into TCU territory, now they've gone backwards. It's 3rd and 15 from their own 44. You got Bernard alongside Wilson. Pressure comes, picked up. Wilson's going to throw it, and that one is incomplete. Trying to hit his receiver coming back to the ball, Money Parks. It's 4th and long, and Utah's going to punt.
That was a really good blitz pickup by running back Mekhi Bernard. Did a fantastic job. Kind of whiffed earlier in the game in this same situation. Making up for it here with Johnny Hodges. Wilson had a clean pocket to make the throw. You can just kind of see his feet. They weren't quite set, which is why that football dies on him as he's trying to push it down the field. He had his wide receiver, Money Parks, open on the in cut, just not able to get the football to him.
Well, Bomeister, the punter, going to try to angle this one toward that right sideline. Fair catch made by Richardson, just short of the 20-yard line. Timeout here in Salt Lake City. Horned Frogs get the ball back, leading 3-0.
And don't forget, the conference champions that are the 4 highest ranked conference champions will get a first round bye.
I mean, you know, you sort of look ahead. TCU gets the ball back, finds Jack Besh for the first time. They've been trying to get it to him. First successful connection between Hoover and Besh for a gain of 5. If the Big 12, let's just say the Big 12 beats up on itself like they have been doing so far. Now Kansas State's really good. BYU's really good. Iowa State survives tonight. So maybe it won't happen. There's at least a chance a team like Boise State or Army or Navy, they could be higher ranked than the Big 12 champion. They could get a bye into the quarterfinals. They could.
And that was my point about saying the 4 highest ranked conference champions get that first round bye. We don't know who they're going to be. There's a lot of parity in college football. You just mentioned it. Boise State with the running back they have with Ashton Genty, right? Heisman front runner right now. Anything can happen out west in Boise. You mentioned Army Navy, what they have going on. It's going to be a lot of fun down to the stretch to see how that bracket breaks down.
It's just cool. Now we're at a point in the season you can start to kind of dream about what it's really going to look like. You got Trent Battle in the game on 3rd and 1 for TCU.
I'd like to see TCU get Josh Hoover on the move.
Instead, they direct snap it in the backfield and a tough run. I think that's Savion Williams, the wideout, who went in the backfield and pushed forward for a gain of 4.
Well, why would you get Hoover on the run when you could just direct snap it to Williams? Such an impressive athlete. You see how tough he is, physical and explosive. Great pickup by the TCU Horned Frogs.
6'5", 225. He is a big dude.
Yeah, just a great one cut getting downhill. He knew where the first down markers were, wasn't going to dance in the backfield. That's a big time pickup against a really good front 7 for the Utes.
So it's 1st and 10 TCU. Trent Battle's playing a lot of snaps tonight for the Horned Frogs. In there again. Hoover throws deep left and a perfect pass and another catch for McAllister. This time he didn't have to pin it against anybody's helmet. He just caught it in stride for a gain of 34.
I'll tell you what, Josh Hoover is coming out tonight just firing on all cylinders coming out of the bye week. Does a great job of looking off the safety. He held his eyes to the right just for a step to get that free safety to freeze, and then threw the perfect pass to Eric McAllister, who already has 2 100-yard receiving games on the year.
Now a short dump down to Battle, who cuts it upfield. You can see why they like Trent Battle. He's been hurt for most of the year, came back before the bye against Houston. He's a much bigger part of the game plan tonight.
Yeah, he's a big physical back, but the other element that he gives you is he has great hands, and you're seeing how TCU's using him tonight. They're getting the football to him out in the perimeter and testing Utah to come up and make tackles.
Another trip deep into Utah territory. The total yardage just so lopsided in favor of TCU. The score still only 3-0. Battle, nice cut. He was ready to go down for a short gain, and he cut it upfield and gets the first down.
It was a great cut by Battle to get some extra yards. Te'o Johnson, the free safety, was there to make a tackle, flying down like a missile from the middle of the field. Battle stuck his foot in the ground and picked up some extra yards.
I think you saw that shot of Kyle Whittingham. He wanted to look up at the big video board and figure out how they didn't get him to the ground. Now another great pass and a catch for a touchdown. The tight end Dabney. The first touchdown of the game. This one from 21 yards out. And TCU is in control of this one on the road.
That's right, Flem, fully in control. TCU, like I just said, hitting on all cylinders offensively. Their only blemish has been some missed opportunities in the low red zone in the first quarter. But Josh Hoover coming out tonight slinging, doing some really good stuff.
Let's see.
It's close.
I might have to look at that
The
one.
ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under review.
I think he's not in. I think the knee's down and the ball's still not at the goal line.
I agree. That's a fantastic camera shot right there. Straight down the goal line. You can see that the football's short of the white line.
So I think this will be first and goal TCU, which, of course, considering how this game has gone, it's not a guarantee that TCU punches it in. You would figure it would be from the half-yard line. But I think this call is going to be overturned and it won't be a touchdown.
Well, and that's what I just mentioned. TCU's 1 for 3 in the red zone tonight. Coming into the game, they were 25 of 26 on the season, one of the best teams in the Big 12 Conference. But early in the first quarter, struggling to get the football into the end zone.
I think that other look was the one that told us. Let's get the ruling from the
After review,
referee.
the receiver was short of the goal line. The ball will be placed at the half-yard line. First and goal for TCU.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. It's still a great spot for the Horned Frogs, but as of right now, take those points off the board. It's still 3-0.
Well, to set up first and goal, I love the play call. You're going to fake the tunnel screen outside, and Dabney's going to act like he's blocking and then release up the sideline. This was set up earlier in the drive with a similar play call that actually went to the screen. Just a great job of setting up that play early in the drive and then executing when you get down to the red zone.
He got the safety, Alakai Gilman, to totally bite on that fake. So now Sonny Dykes' team trying to get it in. They're going to go under center. That doesn't happen all that much. Hoover is going to try to sneak it. Gets a push from behind. A penalty flag thrown. And no signal yet of a touchdown. I think he was stopped short. Now, it could be Utah was offsides. Still no signal. And now we get the signal. Touchdown.
A great job by Dominique Johnson. He was in the fullback position, helping his quarterback.
Defense number 98. That penalty is declined. Result of play is a touchdown.
Like I said, Johnson helping his quarterback across the goal line for the touchdown. On the initial surge, it looked like Josh Hoover was going to be short. Then Johnson helped his quarterback across the line.
Yeah, just line it up in that neutral zone. You're right. Good push by Johnson. It got the job done. So it took an extra play. But what a drive from TCU. 11 plays already in the first half of 10 or more yards for the Horned Frogs. That's a lot. Extra point, kind of a high snap, but the kick is up. And it is good. 10-0 TCU, coming off a terribly disappointing loss and a bye week. So now the Utah offense desperately needs to get something going. They've had 49 total yards in this first half. Mekhi Bernard, who's had a lot of those, and another good first down run for him all the way out to the 29, a gain of 7.
It was a really good by right tackle Spencer Fano and his tight end Dallin Bentley working on that right side, getting a great initial surge at the snap of the football. That's a good start to the drive for the Utes. And this is where they need to live. They need to live positive yards on first down. Second down, they need positive yards. When you're in third and long with a true freshman quarterback, you're not going to convert a lot of those.
Wilson from the shotgun on second and short. Pressure picked up. Wilson is going down. He held on to the ball and I guess had nowhere to go with it. And Devin Deal in the backfield gets the sack.
Yeah, and that's just a freshman mistake, just showing his youthfulness. He's inexperienced. That's a sack he can't take. Give a lot of credit to Devin Deal, working a great spin move right up the middle, not giving up on the play. But Wilson has to find a way. He had a target open. It wasn't going to go for a big play, but it was going to be positive yards close to the first down marker. Just a sack a young quarterback can't take in that situation.
Cam Risinger's got the boot on his right leg. He's got the finger brace, still out for the year. Wilson throws that one incomplete, trying to hit his tight end Keithy, who's been quiet in this first half. And so after a nice play to start the drive, Utah goes 3 and out. Wilson's limping as he gets up, and you can just see the frustration, the body language for the Utes.
Yeah, well, he takes a shot at the end of the play. Johnny Hodges, the linebacker for TCU, gets there late and takes a low hit on the quarterback, Wilson. Hopefully Wilson's okay. Otherwise, Utah's down to their third string quarterback.
And now not a very good punt at all toward the sideline. Bounces out of bounds. So special teams hasn't been good. The offense hasn't been good. Just things right now are in a tough way for this Utah team. Not just tonight, but this whole season, Brock. You go back to the game against Arizona State last week down in Tempe, and Cam Rising finally back in the lineup, and then this happened.
Yeah, unfortunately for Utah, it's just the same story, just in a different year. Cam Rising takes a really nasty hit early in the first quarter against ASU, and then from that moment on, he just wasn't the normal Cam Rising that everyone's used to. He was inefficient. He threw 3 interceptions on the night and just couldn't get any velocity and accuracy on his passes after hurting that right knee.
He told Kyle Whittingham, I want to still be around this program. I want to help mentor Isaac Wilson. But look at all those injuries. It's just incredible how over the years they've piled up.
Yeah, and you can't overstate what this injury means and how big of a blow it is to Utah. Coming into the season, they were the favorites to win the Big 12 Conference. And now with Rising out, you're seeing how the offense is sputtering, struggling to get yards, struggling to get points. It's just a devastating loss for the Utes.
His 2 healthy years, Utah won 2 Pac-12 championships.
And played for 2 Rose Bowls. One of the best in the country when he was healthy.
Hoover pressured. Hoover's going to scramble, and Hoover will get shoved out of bounds. So he got some lost yardage back, gets to midfield, and maybe just across midfield to set up 3rd down.
I like what Utah did with that pass rush. They pushed the pocket from Hoover's right side, forcing him. If he's not going to make a throw from the pocket, they forced him out to the left side of the field for a right-handed quarterback. That makes for a very difficult throw.
And they actually said he stepped out short of the 50, so it's 3rd down and 7 here.
One name we haven't said tonight is Van Fillinger, defensive end for Utah. He needs to make a difference in this football game, leading the Utes with 5.5 sacks on the season.
From the left end, he got toward the pocket. Williams catches the ball from Hoover, but gets stopped short. Now, this would be interesting for Sonny Dykes. It does not look like he's hesitating. He started to send that punt team out there immediately.
And I think this is a really good decision by Sonny Dykes. So many coaches in today's college football game, once you cross the 50 or even get close to the 50, it's 4-down territory. But with a 10-point lead and Utah's offense not really showing you much early on in this football game, I want to pin the true freshman quarterback deep and make him drive the length of the field.
I think it's a good call. You got Dorian Singer back there again to receive, standing at the 10. TCU letting the clock wind down. Ethan Craw, their punter, booms one that's headed for the end zone. So that's going to be a touchback. Well, so far, Brock, for the true freshman quarterback Isaac Wilson, it has not been easy.
No, it hasn't. He's 4 for 7 on the day with 2 sacks, and I think the biggest issue is he just can't get in rhythm. You see the misfire on a basic little inside slant. He's not seeing the field very well when Utah has tried to push the football down the field. And then on the same token, you need to give a lot of credit to the TCU defense. They're bringing a lot of pressure up the middle. They're getting in Isaac's face. This is a very crucial drive for the young quarterback. He has to find a way to be efficient, get into rhythm, and pick up a couple first downs and find some points before halftime.
He's got those 14 yards passing. He's also lost 18 yards when he's been sacked. So if you net it out, they're minus 4 yards when they've dropped back to pass for the half. And before they even snap the ball, they commit a penalty.
It's going to be false start on the left guard, Togiai.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
And those are just drive killers. It's the self-inflicted wounds that this football team, Utah does not have a margin for error right now. You see offensive coordinator Andy Ludwig looking at his call sheet right now. He has to find what Isaac Wilson's comfortable with to be able to find points on this drive.
From under center, handoff Bernard. Mekhi Bernard ahead close to the original line of scrimmage. Got 4, close to 5. It'll be 2nd and a long 10 with that clock winding. Moving down to 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Got to give a lot of credit to the TCU defense in the first half of this ball game. Sonny Dykes said his football team practiced physicality throughout the bye week, and it's shown up tonight early on in this football game against Utah.
So 2nd and 11. Wilson. Handoff again, and this time TCU, the initial hit, Bernard got through it, but a short game.
And right now, Utah is just so predictable. You know, on first down, they're going to hand the football off. Second down, they're going to hand the football off. At some point, there needs to be a little bit of creativity with this offense to get Wilson into rhythm and to put TCU back on their heels. Right now, you see their linebackers just triggering right at the snap of the football.
And that's bad news. That's their best player, Mekhi Bernard. The lead running back just voted a captain this week with Cam Rising out for the rest of the year. And Kyle Whittingham told us it was a landslide vote. But having a hard time putting weight on that left leg. Yikes.
He's really been the one consistent piece to this offense this season, along with the offensive line.
Ooh, that is bad news for Utah. See if we can see anything at the end of that run.
Just fighting for extra yards. He's one of those backs that gets stronger as the game goes along. Just so physical, averaging over 6.5 yards per carry on the season. Hopefully he's able to get back in the football game for Utah. Otherwise, that's a massive loss.
He's putting a little more weight on the left leg, but still not a whole lot. So Charlie Vincent on third down and long. Wilson gonna sling it left side. That's Keithy, and TCU saw that coming.
Yeah, that play never had a chance. Johnny Hodges there to make the tackle. See Kamara getting involved in the play, and the fans don't like it. You know, they listen, whether you like it or not, your starting quarterback now is a true freshman. There's no life raft coming to save this offense. So at some point, you do need to unleash the freshman quarterback and allow him to push the football down the field.
2-minute timeout here, and you don't hear that from Utah fans very often. They are cranky tonight in Salt Lake. Utah Utes, man, are they struggling with no Cam Rising, with a freshman QB. They can't get a punt snap off without committing a penalty. The special teams have been as bad as I could ever remember a Utah special teams unit.
Offense number 31, 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
Yeah, you said it, Flem. This Utah football team, they're just off right now. They're sputtering. They can't find a groove. They can't get into rhythm. Only 4 first downs offensively tonight, and they're 0 for 6 on third down. It's going to be really hard to drive down the field and score points with those numbers.
And Bernard leaves the injury tent, heads to the locker room. Richardson signals fair catch, and he'll make it at the 40. So TCU, with all their timeouts, they have plenty of time, already leading 10-0 and totally dominating on the stat sheet. They got plenty of time to get some more points.
Yeah, no question. And don't forget, Utah gets the ball first in the third quarter. So if you're TCU, what an opportunity to add more points to the scoreboard before you give the football back to Utah. Josh Hoover's been in a tremendous rhythm tonight, 14 of 23, 188 yards. He's made some really, really big-time throws. His wide receivers have helped him out. See if they can finish in the end zone one more time.
It feels like the kind of game where Utah's defense is going to have to either score some points or set up the offense to score some points. Play fake to Cook. Fillinger got in there to put some pressure on Hoover, and Hoover's going to dump it short to Cook, who gets upended and knocked, they say, out of bounds for a short gain on first down.
That was a really big-time growth play by Josh Hoover. Just a sophomore, started 6 games a season ago. So he's still feeling his way through college football. He had his go-to guy, Besh, down the middle of the field, but he would have been throwing back across his body, something that he was doing pre-bye week and throwing interceptions. Decided to check it down. Very smart football.
Second down. This time knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Trying one of those little sidearm throws that he's sort of become known for. Incomplete.
Well, and this is how quick a drive and momentum can flip. We're just talking about TCU potentially going down and getting some points before half. That's Tanu Vasa knocking the football down back in the lineup this week. But now Utah has a chance to get off the field here if they can get a stop and get the football back to their offense before halftime.
I think that's the second batted ball of the first half for Tanu Vasa.
Yeah, his impact is being felt right now.
3rd and 7. Pressure comes up the middle. Hoover throws off his back foot. Williams with the catch, but a great tackle in the open field. by Zamiah Vaughn, and Williams is short of the first down. Now Utah is going to burn a timeout to stop the clock at 1:29.
That was a really good sequence by the Utah defense. You're going to see Lander Barton blitz right up the middle. Cam Cook does a pretty darn good job at running back in pass protection to pick up Barton, but it got Josh Hoover to move off his spot, force his eyes down, and he had to check the football down. Great job by Utah to rally to the tackle and force the fourth down play.
So the timeout, Utes. By the way, coming up on our Lexus halftime report, there's a lot to talk about. Tennessee at home against Alabama, a great game. Not the prettiest game, but a dramatic game. I can't believe what happened in Austin. Georgia, especially in the first half, just dominant. And Army-Navy becoming one of the best stories in the country.
Yeah, that scene in Knoxville today, Tennessee, Alabama, that stadium, the way the game played out, what a scene for college football. Tell you what, we've had so many enjoyable football games all season. Last week, Ohio State and Oregon coming down to the end. Bama, Tennessee. It's been a lot of fun.
Utah called the timeout. TCU has its offense on the field on 4th and 2. And we'll see if they're really going for it. Utes actually almost jumped. No penalty flag thrown. Play clock winding down. We'll see if they try that one more time. I think Sonny Dykes is just going to burn a timeout and avoid the penalty. Man, that was close. It almost worked.
Well, that was a missed opportunity for TCU. The left guard, Colton Deary, when that defensive tackle jumps, he needs to reach out and touch him. And if he does that, it's going to be on the defense and a fresh set of downs for TCU.
You could also just snap the ball right then when you see that.
That's exactly right. That would have worked as well. So either of those options would have got TCU a first down. I do like the decision, though, by Sonny Dykes to put some pressure on Utah, because I'm sure he's looking at it as, if I can get a touchdown here, if I can get it to 17-0, the way Utah's offense has been playing, that might be the knockout punch. So I like his aggressive style, trying to get Utah to jump off sides.
Kyle Whittingham trying to figure out what is going on with his team, especially at home. I mean, you and I were here for the Arizona game before they went to Tempe, and they got stuffed at home. They got 8 quarters of football, going even back another game before that where they have 10 total points of offense at home.
I mean, I hate to pinpoint it, but it really just comes down to one position. And if you can get some more efficiency out of that position, this Utah team has a quality roster across the board.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that's what's going on. By the way, we got a very exciting game coming up tomorrow night on ESPN and the ESPN app. It's Game 5 in a best-of-5. So literally for the WNBA championship, winner gets a parade. The Lynx and the Liberty. WNBA countdown at 7 Eastern and tip-off at 8 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN.
What an opportunity for Isaac Wilson and his offense here. As ugly as the first half has been and as inefficient as it's been, if you can drive the field here and get some points, it's a one-possession game.
Oh, let's see how aggressive Utah is. Pressure comes. Wilson, nice pass. Maybe his best throw of the whole game to Singer. That's the longest completion of the game, and it's a Utah first down.
Great start to the drive. Wilson recognizes off coverage to the boundary. You get a great pickup by Mekhi Bernard.
We thought he was going to the locker room. He didn't go to the locker room. He's back on the field.
No, that blitz pickup was huge. It's what allowed Wilson to get the throw off.
Now Wilson is going to throw it away. He got pressured, flushed out to the right. Incomplete. Clock stops 1:02. There were some sarcastic cheers, I think, after that Utah first down. But I think you're right. This has a chance to be a drive where the Utes can finally get something going.
No question. You can right all your wrongs right here. And listen, there's 3 components to a successful 2-minute drive. Get a positive first play. Well, check that box off. No negative plays. None have happened yet. And you have to find one explosive play of 20 yards or more in this drive. And if you can do that, 90% of those drives score.
2nd and 10. Wilson throws, and that one tipped up and incomplete. Well, a chance for a catch there, although the ball was a little behind Pittman. It's 3rd down.
Yeah, I know the football was a little bit behind Pittman, but that's because Elarms Orr, the linebacker, is buzzing out to that hook area. I think Wilson did a really good job of recognizing that the linebacker was flying out to make a play. I'd like to see Pittman kind of settle down into that soft hole and be friendly for his young quarterback.
That's a good point. Because it looks behind, but really that's kind of where you had to throw it.
Yeah, for zone coverage, I think that was a really good location of the football.
So 3rd and 10. Wilson. Plenty of time, zings that one in there, and here's your explosive play. It's Keithy into TCU territory across the 50, where Utah has hardly been all night, a gain of 26.
Yeah, well, Keithy's just a ball player. He's got a great natural feel for the game, working a deep middle route. Wilson throwing a strike.
Quick snap, Wilson again toward the sideline, incomplete. He had his man. Singer was there and just let him out of bounds.
Let's go back to that explosive game by Brant Keithy. Tight end split out in the slot position, just working against zone defense. Does a great job of selling deep, getting the safety to kind of backpedal a bit, and then hitting the brakes and coming back to the football. That was a really, really well executed play.
So Keithy on the sideline for 2nd and 10. Utah close to field goal range with under 40 seconds to go, but Wilson goes down. So you said you can't have any negative plays. There's Caleb Elarms Orr. Man, did he get in there in a hurry to sack Wilson.
That was an unbelievable blitz by Elarms Orr. He recognizes that the running back is there to get him. So rather than blitzing directly to the back, he's going to loop around into the inside and avoid the running back, and that's how he gets the sack on Wilson. That is a heads-up football play and a linebacker that has fantastic feel for the game.
I mean, you hate to have your quarterback take a sack, but I don't think Wilson could see him coming.
No, Isaac is expecting Elarms Orr to be picked up in the protection. He knows he's accounted for. Elarms Orr just did a great job of evading the running back, Bernard, and getting back into the backfield. That was just an unbelievable defensive football play.
So Utah then tried to get organized to run a play. They substituted, though, so then TCU was going to substitute, which meant that Kyle Whittingham had to burn a timeout, but some clock had already bled off. So now you got 3rd and 20, and I don't know, Brock, maybe you can get into a position where you try a long field goal.
Yeah, you have plenty of time here to throw the football anywhere you want on the field. You have 2 timeouts. You know, and you have to try to get points, whether it's a long field goal, maybe it's a Hail Mary at the end of half. We saw Aaron Rodgers do one on Monday night. Got to find a way to try to get some positive yards so you can try to get points on the final play.
So 3rd and 20, TCU blitzes again. Wilson threw off his back foot, and it wobbles incomplete. Intended for Singer, so forget all that after a positive start to the drive. Now some jawing between Obi Izor and Wilson. It's going to be a Utah punt.
Well, a drive that showed so much promise early for the Utes was just completely derailed by a couple linebacker pressures. There was even a safety involved on that last pressure for TCU. Great job by Andy Avalos, defensive coordinator, and his defensive unit standing up against Utah's offense in the 2-minute drill.
Utah's got to get this punt off. They've already had one block. They're pressured again, and they just get it off. Good job there in the end, and the ball's going to be downed inside the 20. That was close.
Yeah, it was very close.
Just when you thought it couldn't get worse for the Utah special teams, it almost did.
And listen, I'll say this, TCU did a fantastic job. They got off the field, held Utah to no points, but Utah, true freshman quarterback, you can take that momentum of the drive, eliminate those negative plays into halftime. You get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. Maybe that's something you can build off of. But right now, you have quarterback Josh Hoover for TCU just having a fantastic night, 16-26, a $196. Playing a really, really good football game and making fantastic decisions.
1 half on the road against Utah in this stadium, almost 200 yards. Really impressive. So he'll take a knee, and Utah is very fortunate that it's not worse than 10-0. So we'll see if they can take some of that momentum and get. TCU ran 23 plays in Utah territory in the first half. Utah ran 2 in TCU territory. But the Utes are still in this game. The kickoff will be a touchback. Let's go down to Sherry.
Well, Coach Whittingham told me, guys, that as his offense comes out here now to start the second half, they need to move the ball. They need to make first downs. 7 punts in that first half was just too many. But he praised his defense, saying this game could be easily out of hand. He likes what they're doing, particularly in the red zone. As we're talking to Coach Sonny Dykes, he said in the end zone, in the red zone, they need to execute and finish. He wants to see them run the ball a bit better there, but he particularly likes the physicality from his linebackers and wants to continue to see them doing that.
That was definitely a theme of that first half. Thanks, Sherry. Wilson under center for the first play of the second half. Rolling right, still rolling, throws, and the pass is incomplete. Trying to hit his receiver coming back along the sideline, but incomplete to Money Parks.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good opening play call for Andy Ludwig, trying to get his young quarterback into rhythm, trying to develop some confidence with him. That's just a throw that Wilson needs to make. He had an open target. Needs to find a way to get a completion.
I mean, he's a very talented young guy. Andy Ludwig is really excited about his future. He was the best high school player probably in the state of Utah last year. His brother, of course, was a great college player at BYU, high draft pick in the NFL. Now another penalty against Utah along the front, pre-snap.
Offense number 88, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
This time, Dallin Bentley, a tight end.
Couple pre-snap penalties for Utah tonight. Self-inflicted wound, something that you don't see out of this football team very often. When you have a true freshman quarterback making his 4th career start, the other 10 guys on the field really need to elevate their play, and at times they haven't done that tonight.
So now 2nd and 15, exactly the wrong place for Utah's offense. Bernard swarmed and loses yardage. 5 more negative yards. Nana Osafa-Mensah with the tackle for loss.
Well, give a lot of credit to number 11, Devin Deal, just kind of splitting a gap right where the tight end and guard were trying to secure that line of scrimmage. And then you have Osafa-Mensah coming in to clean up the tackle. Great job by the defensive front for the TCU Horned Frogs on 2nd down to force a 3rd and long.
Offensive line supposed to be a strength for Utah. They're getting beat up front tonight. 3rd and 20, and almost fumble. The ball on the turf. Bernard somehow comes out of there with it. Penalty flags thrown, and he gets still going. An incredible individual effort from Bernard, but I think it's coming back. What a crazy play that was. Near total disaster, and then improv from Bernard for 37 yards, but
what an unbelievable effort by Mekhi Bernard. I've never seen anything like it. Whether that play stands or not, unbelievable individual effort.
Offense number 62. Out the distance to the goal. Replay 3rd down.
So a block in the back, half the distance to the goal, 3rd and even longer. Yikes.
Well, you've mentioned how good this Utah offensive line has been all season, but you see number 11, once again, Devin Deal coming from the 2nd level. He's a defensive end, started the play at the linebacker position, just triggered at the snap. No one got a hand on him, and then Mekhi Bernard picks up the football, tries to make something out of nothing. Unbelievable individual effort, but once again, there's the yellow flag down on the field. And now Utah's facing a 3rd and a mile.
Yeah, now you just have to hand the ball off and try not to fumble it and punt it away. That kind of night for the Utes offense. Handoff and a short gain. We'll listen for these fans. They are unhappy. That guy isn't unhappy. Andy Avalos, his defense is playing really well.
Just an unbelievable performance by the Horned Frogs defense. Andy Avalos putting together a great game plan over the bye week coming into this week's game. Holding the Utes under 100 yards of total offense through the first 2 quarters of the game.
Jeez, now contact behind the play. Fair catch near midfield. TCU ran into the punter. Now this This will be interesting.
Yeah, that was a lot of contact. There's a good chance this is roughing, which will be a personal foul rather than running into, which is just a 5-yard penalty.
Hudson Hooper, the guy who made contact there. This could be a huge mistake for TCU. Watching the officials, though, I think they're going to give the 5-yard variety.
I don't know. When that plant leg gets hit, that's the indicator for the personal foul.
That was
and it's clear that plant leg is in the turf. It takes a pretty hard hit. That's the definition of roughing the kicker.
It's kind of hard to believe they're not going to give the personal foul variety on that one. Now we're just going to stare at both sidelines.
Running into the kicker, defense number 33. That penalty is declined. First down, TCU.
So Utah actually declines the penalty because they're so skittish with their punt game.
I'm shocked. Watch how the plant leg is down and takes a direct shot. That is roughing the kicker. I'm with Kyle Whittingham. I understand the frustration. That is the definition in the rule book.
Yeah. I'd be going nuts if I were him, too.
That's a missed call by the officials and a pivotal call. That would have gave Utah a first down. They'd still possess the football down 10. That's a pivotal play in this football game.
Hey, you're staring right at it. It's right in front of you. Wow. So now TCU, after getting the stop and then avoiding the 15-yard penalty, offense on the field for the first time in the second half. Williams in motion. Hoover in the pocket. Hoover's going to dump it short to Cook. Acrobatic catch for him. And he'll make a nice positive gain. Pushed out of bounds in Utah territory after 7 yards.
Josh Hoover's making some really, really good decisions tonight. Nowhere to go with the football downfield. And he's got some gunslinger in him. He wants to push the football down the field. He wants explosive pass plays. Nowhere to go with the ball, though. He's learned from prior mistakes. Finds his outlet, checks it down to his back, and makes it second and manageable. That's a big-time play by a young quarterback.
So 2nd and 4 now for the Horned Frogs. Hoover tried to hand it off, then kind of shoveled it over the top to his tight end Dabney. That was an improv play by Josh Hoover.
Wow, that was really good navigation of that play by Josh Hoover. Utah's in the backfield. Hoover has to make a quick decision. Shoots almost like a little basketball jump shot right over the top of Logan Fano. Gets his football to his tight end Dabney and picks up a first down.
Dabney's been more involved tonight. That has to be a good thing for TCU. Now a dangerous throw, but it was completed to Savion Williams.
I think there was a bust up front on the offensive line. You see the left tackle slide down and set Fano, the defensive end, scot-free. Really no reason for that, but great job by Hoover and Williams to connect and find some positive yards in the play.
More plays on this side of the field. Big hole right side. Cook into the Utah secondary inside the 15 and upended down to the 14. A gain of 14 yards.
Well, this is really on defensive end. Van Fillinger, that's his job to squeeze down at the defensive end position. There's just too much air in the hole, which is what allows TCU for the explosive gain.
First down. Cook gets it again, this time nowhere to go.
Well, now we'll see if Utah's defense, now in the red zone once again, backs against the wall, are they able to hold up? TCU only 1 touchdown on the night with 5 red zone trips. This has been one area of the field that the Utes defense has been very good in. They've been bending, but they haven't broke down in the red zone. Can TCU find a way to get the football into the end zone for a touchdown?
You saw Hoover leave the field. Haas Haney, the freshman sort of running style quarterback, is out there. Had 1 play in the first half. He's going to keep it here with a lead blocker. Haney trying to get around the left side. He'll get shoved out of bounds at the 10. He thought about cutting it upfield. Didn't do it. Now it's 3rd down.
Well, that's the second run play for Haney tonight. You can see his athleticism. Probably the fastest guy down there on the field. A couple designed run packages for the true freshman quarterback.
So he comes back out. Hoover out there again on 3rd and 6. Okay, it feels like Utah has to keep TCU out of the end zone.
Yeah, I expect Morgan Scalley to bring pressure here for Utah and force Josh Hoover into a quick decision and play man coverage with the wide receivers.
Richardson comes in motion. Hoover being pressured, rolling right, and throws it away. Took a hit from Fillinger. So you got to give the Utah defense credit. Again in the red zone, they hold and force a field goal attempt.
Well, Scalley wins the chess match against offensive coordinator Kendall Briles. I assumed Utah was going to bring pressure just like Kendall Briles did, expecting man coverage behind it. He had a man beater concept on. Utah instead elects to drop 7 into zone coverage and protect the end zone. Nowhere to go with the football for Josh Hoover and forcing TCU into a field goal situation.
Kick is up, and the kick is good from 28 yards out. So TCU expands its lead 13-0 here in the 3rd quarter. Utah's had one of the best home field advantages over the last decade and more. And right now they're just not playing very well no matter where they are. Down 13-0. And a Utes player down on special teams. The first 4 games, things were kind of operating as you'd expect. Maybe not full throttle, but the last 2 games, Brock, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completion percentage under 50%. The pass game has just disappeared.
Yeah, that's right, Flem. You know, not a whole lot has gone right for this Utah offense the last couple weeks, and this is a get back on track drive. This is gut check time for the Utes. You know, it's still a 2-possession ball game. Tons of time to play here in the second half. You have to get back to your identity. Find positive yards through the run game on 1st and 2nd down, and then pick and choose your spots when you want to take your shots.
Wilson will hand it off Bernard, and Mekhi Bernard gets a yard on 1st down.
And as much as Utah wants to get that run game that I just spoke about established again here in the second half, it's just so difficult because TCU isn't scared of the Utah pass game. So right now, you're seeing linebackers and safeties trigger downhill at the snap and just play the run. At some point, Isaac Wilson, Andy Ludwig, they're going to have to take another shot down the field to soften up this TCU defense.
Coming into this drive, 8 total drives for Utah tonight, 8 punts. No points. Just haven't moved the ball at all. Wilson, pass dropped. Keithy right in his hands, and he dropped it.
Well, sometimes when it rains, it pours. This definitely doesn't help the situation. Brant Keithy, a 3-time all-conference tight end for the Utes, maybe the most reliable player on the entire offensive side of the ball. Just a pure drop, and that was going to make it 3rd and manageable.
It's kind of all systems failure right now. You're seeing penalties on the offensive line and missed assignments there. Some drop passes. The quarterback Wilson's not been on target. Still somehow only down 13. Pressure comes. Wilson hit as he throws, incomplete. Ball on the turf. TCU pounced on it, but that was clearly a pass and an incompletion. So now 9 drives. And the 9th punt coming up.
Well, this is just a defense that's feasting on a young quarterback. Isaac Wilson's under pressure here. TCU elects to bring pressure from the slot. You're going to see this right here. And Isaac Wilson doesn't recognize that he's hot in this situation. He needs to get the football out of his hand. That defender is not accounted for in the pass protection. And like I said, Andy Avalos, defensive coordinator, has just put together a fantastic game plan for the Utes tonight.
Punt coming up here. Fair catch signal by Richardson inside the TCU 30. So the Utah offense just hasn't got anything going. The TCU offense has moved the ball almost at will. Up 13-0 in the 3rd quarter. Defense back out on the field. The Horned Frogs leading 13-0 about halfway through the third quarter. Williams with the catch, made the first man miss, made the second man miss, did not make the third man miss.
No, didn't go very far on that play. Did find some positive yards, but you saw 2 missed tackles, and that's just something that's really plagued this Utah defense the last couple weeks in their 2 losses. TCU's done a really good job tonight of testing the tackling of the Utes, getting the football quickly out to the perimeter in space.
Hoover takes a snap, little play fake to Battle, then the throw almost intercepted. Man, Cam Calhoun had his hands on it and couldn't squeeze it. Utah needs a play like that.
Yeah, Hoover got away with one there. That was a great play by Cameron Calhoun, the freshman defensive back. You see Hoover look right off the play action and then kind of come back late left. Anytime you're throwing deep across the middle against man coverage, you got to throw on time. Calhoun does a great job of undercutting that late throw.
So now 3rd and 8. Utah so desperately needs one of those big plays from their defense. Pressure comes, kind of a low snap. Hoover throws, and that one's incomplete. Trying to hit Jack Besh, and maybe that pressure affected the throw. It's 4th down.
Yeah, no question. There was some pressure that came from the second level off the left side of the offensive line for TCU. Free runners in the backfield. And that created Josh Hoover to speed up his process. Throws an errant throw. Besh was open, but Hoover wasn't able to set his feet and make a good throw.
So that's one of the best sequences for the Utah defense all night. A rare 3 and out for TCU. Now a high punt sends Pittman all the way back. He's going to let it bounce, and then it takes a Utah bounce. It'll be down at about the 18-yard line. 7:38 to go, third quarter. Utah offense, 9 drives, 9 punts, 85 total yards. You almost never see numbers like that.
It's just not good, and I understand that you're going upriver without a paddle right now, right? True freshman quarterback, only his 4th career start, and it's tough right now. TCU's selling out to stop the run, but you do have to find something in the pass game. There is a way to get this young quarterback moving the football efficiently down the field.
On 1st down, they will hand it off to Bernard. Right side run, Mekhi Bernard. Really doing all he can just to get 2, 3, 4 yards at a time.
Yeah, that's a really good start to the drive. Mekhi Bernard running so hard. Like I said earlier, he's a back that just gets stronger as the game goes along. You see Cam Rising, unfortunately, out for the rest of the season after injuring his right knee down at Arizona State last week. I'd like to see Utah inject a little bit of tempo into this series. It really seemed like Isaac Wilson in the 2-minute drive in the second quarter, he did find a way to get into a rhythm when Utah elected to play with tempo.
Throws this one out to Keithy, who cuts it upfield, made a man miss, and he gets a Utah 1st down.
And there's a little juice out of this Utah offense. Brant Keithy, big-time player for this Utah football team, 7th-year senior. He's been playing at a high level for a long time. Great spark, catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage, getting some positive yards and a 1st down for the Utes.
I thought they might go quick tempo after that 1st down conversion. Instead, they substituted. And Wilson's going to go under center. 1st and 10 from the 29. Play fake. Wilson, plenty of time. Going deep, middle, caught! Touchdown! Money Parks! And finally for Utah, something to celebrate on offense. 71 yards and the first points of the night for the Utes. And somehow they're in this game.
What an unbelievable play. Got set up by Mekhi Bernard, running back, picking up a blitzer and protection, allowing for Wilson to hold on to the football for the extra second to be able to push it down the field. And then Money Parks did a phenomenal job on the corner post double move route down the field. Just a thing of beauty.
Extra point up and good. After all of this, Utah's down 6 points.
Well, this play never gets started if it isn't for Bernard coming over here in pass protection. Great recognition by the running back. Great pickup. It allows Wilson to look downfield, show off his arm talent, and Money Parks ran a phenomenal route, making it easy for his quarterback. And just like that, Utah is back in the ball game.
Down the field for their first touchdown. And if you're a college football junkie who's hanging with us late night, hey, maybe we got a game for you. Fair catch for TCU. It was so beautiful. Let's take another look at it.
Well, so many great things happen, and none better than Mekhi Bernard on the blitz pickup. This is why he was voted a team captain this week, because he makes plays like this. If he doesn't pick up this blitzer, this play never happens. Isaac Wilson gets to set his feet, and then Money Parks just does a tremendous job selling the corner route, leaning into the cornerback, and then pressing off of him to create separation. Perfect throw, perfect route. Excellent job in blitz pickup, and Cam Rising loves it.
He recognizes you keep the quarterback clean, let him make a play. So the first time in a while, this stadium has come to life as well. Williams takes a direct snap and finds the hole left side, and a beautiful play to start the drive for TCU all the way out to the 39.
Boy, when Savion Williams gets the football out in space, he's dangerous. He's a lot of fun to watch. That big frame, 6'5", 225 pounds coming downhill. That's a load.
Now another direct snap, this time to Cook. And Cook will attempt to turn the corner, just couldn't quite do it. Gets shoved out of bounds. Did get 4 yards on first down.
It's a really good start to the drive for TCU. Utah really just took over the momentum in the football game. They got the crowd back involved. Great first 2 plays of the drive.
Incomplete. Intended for the tight end Dabney. So now we got a third down.
Rice Eccles is about to come alive on this third down. These fans know what this means if they can get the football back to their offense. That was a great play by Lander Barton on the pass deflection to force the 3rd and 6.
Amazing how the feeling of this whole thing has changed with one play. 3rd and 6. Pressure comes. Hoover knocked away, incomplete. He took a hit. Dabney took a hit. And Utah will force 4th down and a TCU punt. They're going to get the ball back.
Well, and gotta have it moments. You know Utah's going to bring pressure. All out blitz, cover 0. Man-to-man coverage with no help down the field. Football a little bit behind tight end Dabney. Great job by Utah getting off the field, and you see Jack Besh frustrated, the go-to target for TCU this season. 3rd in all the country in yards and touchdowns. A little frustrated he didn't get the football.
He's hardly touched it tonight. Fair catch made inside the 15. So it won't be great field position for Utah, but I think they're finally believing that they have a chance to win this game.
No question. And we just saw the formula on the last drive, and that's really what Utah football has been for over a decade. It's physicality at the line of scrimmage, establish the run, get positive yards on 1st and 2nd down, and then when you get a defense that's willing to sell out to stop the run, take your shot downfield on play action.
If I'm Utah, I'm going deep on this play. I might go deep on every play.
Well, we know the young quarterback has a cannon for an arm, so don't be surprised if you see another shot early in this series.
Bernard in the backfield. Wilson is going to throw middle, and that pass is caught. A nice catch on the move by the tight end Keithy for a gain of 11. Let's go down to Sherry.
Guys, I can tell you this Utah sideline, on Utah is just now electric. Dave, you mentioned it, just one play changed the whole feeling. And Coach Whittingham this week talked to his team on Monday, encouraging everyone to put their previous losses behind them and talking to Mekhi Bernard. And he told me the team even changed their mindset. It kind of felt like a funeral. And they said new film, new tape, new time tonight.
It wasn't looking like it was going in that direction for a while. Another play fake. Wilson looking deep. Now he's going to throw short, incomplete.
I know that's an incomplete pass, but Isaac Wilson, he's showing that he's growing up. He's maturing within this football game. 2 plays ago, nothing open downfield. Checks it down to his tight end, who's kind of like his delay check down, gets positive yards. And then on that play on play action, he saw the cornerback peeling back late to go cover the corner route. If Wilson let that football go, it was going to be an interception. Instead, he tried checking it down. I know it was incomplete, but that's a young quarterback getting better.
2nd and 10 now for the Utes. Still 4:30 to go in the 3rd quarter. And TCU does still lead this game. Just a 3-man rush this time. Wilson dancing around. Wilson throws on the move. Shows off that arm strength, but it's incomplete. Intended for Singer.
It was really good coverage downfield by TCU. Nowhere to go with the football for Wilson. Forces the 3rd and 10. And TCU's had a lot of success on this down and distance tonight.
Just 1 for 10 on 3rd downs for Utah. Wilson takes a snap. Pressure got picked up. Wilson, deep right sideline, incomplete, and no flag. There was a lot of contact, and the official signals uncatchable. Huh. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'd like another look at that. That's Lamarian James, cornerback that transferred in from Old Dominion.
How is that uncatchable?
No, it's definitely catchable, and there is some contact. You see some hand-to-hand battling. I think, though, I agree with the no call here.
Now, here, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
If you say no call, okay, fine.
Fair.
But don't give the reason that the pass is uncatchable.
That's right.
When if he hadn't been impeded, it would have been catchable.
That's right. But what Lamarian James did very well is he used the sideline as an extra defender, and that's why you saw a little bit of contact late. Good no call, but you're correct. It was catchable, so don't say that it's uncatchable.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you easily could have said interference, no interference, but I don't get calling that uncatchable. That was what, like 8 yards past him, landed in the field of play?
Yeah. No, that ball is definitely catchable. There is some contact, but I think the reason why that is not just pass interference in the field of play and not in an uncatchable situation is it's really just the body lean of James trying to use the sideline as an extra defender.
So give TCU's defense credit. They get the ball back for their offense. Hoover, play fake. Hoover's going to throw, and there's Besh with a catch. Wrestled out of bounds. And maybe some of that frustration, he might have taken that to the sideline and told somebody, get me the dang ball.
Well, listen, when you're as talented as Jack Besh is and you see how physical he plays, right? He gets the defensive back off of him, 6'2", 215 pounds. Sometimes when you have that much talent, you do. You go to the sideline, you look your quarterback in the eyes and you say, hey, throw me the football next series. And I think that's exactly what you just saw.
Just his 2nd catch. He came into this game in 6 games with over 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. TCU looked like they might have moved. I think they did. Flags thrown. Utah was showing big time pressure there. I thought TCU moved early.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 56. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Taylor Whitfield, Ben Taylor Whitfield, the sophomore offensive lineman.
This crowd is starting to make its presence felt here in the second half. Getting TCU to start the play a little bit early. You saw the movement at left tackle. This is a very critical drive in the game.
1st and 15 for the Horned Frogs. More pressure. Hoover running for his life. Flings one up there, incomplete. Intended for McAllister.
Well, Morgan Scalley's starting to heat up Josh Hoover. That's a gutsy defensive play call on a 1st down situation. Brought in all-out pressure. Left every single defensive back on an island. But you see why. It gets Josh Hoover off his spot, gets him outside the pocket, and forces a 2nd and 15.
They get the play snap with 1 on the play clock. Hoover trying to improv and tell his receiver where to go, and he threw it where nobody was.
Yeah, Hoover and Besh just not on the same page. Besh ran a little 5-yard hitch route down here to the boundary. I think Hoover thought that he was going to run a go route. Besh sat it down. Hoover had nowhere to go with the football. You know, and I don't think Besh is wrong. I'm assuming in that situation versus off coverage like he was getting from the defensive back, he's told to sit it down at 5 yards. Versus a press man situation, that's when you take the top off the defense and run a go route. Quarterback and wide receiver not on the same page.
So TCU's offense is really slowed down. Play clock winding down, and they're not letting him snap it. And now a penalty is thrown. Well, they substituted late. The officials held the snap. And when they finally backed away, the play clock was at 2.
And you see Sonny Dykes' reaction. He feels like his quarterback got it off just in time. But I think that was a good call by the officials. And ultimately, I think he's just frustrated with his offense. Some self-inflicted wounds. You have an opportunity to try to make this a 2-possession football game. And now you're facing a 3rd and 20. Not many play calls on the call sheet for this situation. Without a big play here, you're sending the football back to Utah, who has all the momentum.
3rd and 20. And they'll hand it off. And a positive run for Trent Battle, but nowhere near enough for a 1st down. And I think that's exactly what TCU decided to do.
Yeah, just trying to get better field position for the punt. Don't want to make a bad series worse and have your quarterback try to force a football down the field and give even more momentum to this home crowd. But that was a great series for the Utah defense, getting the football back for their offense.
So another punt coming here for Ethan Craw, with Pittman standing at the 20. Now this one kind of off the side of the foot. Will be down at about the 27-yard line. Well, tomorrow we're not that far away, in fact, from getting you ready for NFL weekend. NFL Countdown starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific. All the breaking news and whatnot before the first round of games. And Monday, we got 2 Monday Night Football games for you this week. 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus. Plus, you got Peyton and Eli for Ravens and Bucks. That's a good game. And then the other Harbaugh, Jim, will coach the Chargers in Phoenix against the Cardinals exclusively on ESPN Plus at 9 Eastern. That's Monday night. Isaac Wilson and the Utah offense back on the field. Wilson keeps it. And Isaac Wilson, who can move a little bit. That was a nice run on 1st down.
Yeah, he can absolutely move. Very athletic quarterback, and this is his comfort zone. In high school, he played in the shotgun. So you get Isaac Wilson in the shotgun, you start running some zone read schemes where if you're going to crash at that defensive end position or give a look to where the quarterback can pull it, Wilson can hurt you with his legs.
You wonder if Utah's going to start to maybe incorporate more of that stuff. They run kind of the offense that they like to run, but Wilson didn't have much experience in this style before coming to this campus. He throws a screen to Keithy. Keithy with a blocker out in front, takes a big hit, but gets a Utah 1st down.
And to your point, Flem, I truly believe that Isaac Wilson will adapt to the Utah style of offense under Andy Ludwig that he's ran here for so many years. But at this point, midway through the season, Isaac Wilson's going to be your quarterback. You also have to adapt to what he does best and what he's most comfortable with.
And Devin Deal, huge hit on Keithy, who held onto the ball. Keithy's been much more involved in the second half. First down, Utah outside the 40. Under center, Wilson. Play fake. Back to pass, and he'll get hit and go down. Deal again. Devin Deal is having a big game for TCU.
Yes, he is. Starting tonight for the injured Cooper McDonald and making the most of his opportunity. We've been saying his name since this football game began, just winning at that defensive end position with speed. You cannot block a defensive end with that much talent with a tight end, and that's exactly what that situation was. It was a one-on-one situation, defensive end, tight end. That's a mismatch.
Fourth sack for the Horned Frogs, a loss of 9, so it's 2nd and 19. Wilson throws this one across the middle, and a nice delivery to get that lost yardage back and then some outside the 45 to the 46. A gain of 13 on what will be the final play of quarter number. It's a big third down as we start the fourth quarter. Utah down 6. Wilson in the pocket. Wilson throws, and it's incomplete. Trying to find Money Parks across the middle. And so now on 4th and 6. I think the punt team's coming out.
Yeah, I think you punt it deep here. There's a full quarter to play. You're starting to get some momentum back into this football game. I think you need to pin TCU deep, play the field position game, see if you can get another 3 and out, and then get that ball back around midfield.
If you complete that pass, and even if Money Parks gets tackled, it's 4th and, say, 2, maybe it's a tougher decision.
I agree. I think if you got it to 4th and 3 or less, it's possibly a different decision. You just don't want to give Josh Hoover the football at midfield.
Richardson will receive it and then go down inside the 10. Well, that's the best special teams execution of the whole game for Utah. There is a penalty flag down sort of near the original line of scrimmage. Bomeister, that was a good punt.
Yeah, that was really good execution by the punt team. Exactly what Utah needed.
Kick, holding number 33 of the receiving team. Out the distance to the goal. First down.
Field position is going to get even worse.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why Kyle Whittingham has had so much success over the last 20 years here at Utah. He's great at situational football. He understands big picture. Yeah, you know, fans want you to always go for it on 4th down, but this is why you punt it. Now you pin TCU back deep. See if you can get the football back to your offense.
And you're near the students. It's going to be loud. I think some of the students left. And this place was so cranky. We were hearing boos, which you almost never see here or hear here. But everybody's believing again.
This is going to be very critical of quarterback Josh Hoover. If TCU elects to throw the football anywhere in this sequence, got to get the football out of your hand very quickly, but I do expect a run here on 1st down.
Battle, play fake to him, the throw to Besh, and what a catch. And that'll quiet him down. Just a terrific play, the throw and the catch.
Well, I'm 0 for 2 on my predictions tonight. What a play by Jack Besh, working down the field, man-to-man coverage. Does a phenomenal job of stacking the cornerback at the top of his route, creating space for the throw, and Josh Hoover put it where only his big wide receiver could make a play on the football.
That is a huge 30-yard gain. Williams, they'll snap it to him, and then he drops it, picks it up off the turf, and there he goes. Savion Williams down the left sideline. That play almost was a total disaster. He dropped the ball, picked it up, and got a huge gain.
Unbelievable play by Williams. We'll have to see if his knee goes down as he fumbles the football. No, he's up. This is a clean play. And he's showing how explosive he is. If you take a bad angle on Savion Williams, he's going to make you pay for it. A couple Utes didn't take the proper angle, and you see what the result of the play is.
Ooh, 25 yards. So a 30-yard pass play, a 25-yard rush, and TCU's right back on Utah's side of the field.
And that's what TCU is capable of. They can be one of the most explosive offenses in the country.
Battle gets the carry straight ahead, and he's got positive yardage inside the 35, down to the 34. 8 more yards for the Horned Frogs.
We're going to go back and look at the big run play by Savion Williams one more time just to confirm that the knee was not down while he possessed the football. He's clearly up. Good call by the officials to let that play run. But going back to what I was just saying, TCU, if they don't inflict self-inflicted wounds upon themselves, turnovers, penalties, like I said, they're one of the most explosive offenses in the country. They can get chunk plays in a hurry. They can score points in a hurry. 3 plays later, their back is off the goal line, and they're driving once again.
2nd and 2. 63 yards in 3 plays from that terrible field position. Now across the middle, and that pass knocked away and almost off a deflection, almost intercepted. Lander Barton actually had a chance to pick that one off.
Yeah, he had a good look at it. Josh Hoover knows he got away with one there. That was a really good play by cornerback Zamiah Vaughn. He's in press man coverage trying to cover a slant. And he's there, gets his left hand on the football. It's a good play by the defensive back.
TCU has not converted a 3rd down in the second half. It's 3rd and 2.
What does Utah elect to do on defense? Normally in these moments, they like to bring the house and bring pressure. Do they do a little reverse psychology and drop into coverage?
Yeah, TCU wants to think about a very big play in this game. Timeout, Horned Frogs back right after this. Goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. 3rd down and 2. TCU pinned deep. They've moved it into Utah territory. And here we go, with Hoover standing next to Kendall Briles.
Well, Haas Haney, he's been in the game a few times tonight. TCU's ran the football when he's in there. Do they choose to take a shot right now? You have one-on-one at the top of your screen.
Haney, low snap, and he'll go backwards. The snap was not a great one, and it took away any chance for him to build some momentum, so they lose. Let's see where they spot the ball. I think at least a couple, maybe even 3 yards.
Bad snap, poor execution. You see Karene Reed back in the lineup, number 21, making his presence felt at the linebacker position for Utah.
And TCU's going for it on 4th and 4.
Well, and I assume that this was 4-down territory for the Horned Frogs, which is why I thought they would take a shot down the field versus man coverage on 3rd. Play clock winding down.
Yeah, TCU's going to have to burn another timeout. When you substitute late, you allow the defense. It's a strategy. Just jog your substitute out on the field. Burn that play clock down. Utah's defender was in no hurry to get out there, and I don't blame him at all. And TCU had to use a timeout.
Yeah, and I just hate seeing that because timeouts are just so valuable when you have a 1-possession game in the 4th quarter. And like I just said, I know TCU knew that that was 4-down territory. So if you know you're going to go for it on 4th down no matter what, you should have that play call, that personnel grouping ready to go. You shouldn't be forced to burn one of your very, very valuable timeouts here in the 4th quarter.
I mean, you kind of, over the years, you expect this will be big-time pressure for the Utah defense on 4th and 4.
You know, Utah has stuck to their blueprint year in and year out. Gotta have it situations. They play man coverage. They blitz their linebackers. That's what they do. But let's see if they play a little reverse psychology here on Kendall Briles and elect to play zone. But this sure looks like man-to-man coverage to me.
4th and 4. Hoover trying to change the play.
Press across the board for Utah. Hoover trying to get to his best man-to-man beater.
Play clock down to 3. And TCU is not going to snap it. Wow. So they decided they weren't going for it.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
And
remains 4th down.
you're not going to take a delay game if you're thinking about a field goal, so they're going to punt.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I really like Sonny Dykes sending his offense back out there because the 5-yard penalty doesn't hurt you at all in this situation. But what I'd like to see is a good hard count by Josh Hoover. Really try to get that Utah defense to jump off sides, but give a lot of credit to the Utes, staying disciplined, not jumping off sides, and getting the football back to their offense.
They had 3rd down and 2. Brought the running quarterback in, lost yardage, burned another timeout. Here's the punt. It's going to land inside the 10, inside the 5, and TCU special teams could not have done that any better. Utah has the ball at the 1. So that's how you do it. If you're going to punt there, that's the result you're looking for. Now that's flipping the field from your own 3 to the opposite 2-yard line. Utah down 6, 11:42 to go, 4th quarter. And Isaac Wilson, the freshman quarterback, under center. Will send a man in motion. Play fake from the end zone. Wilson is going to scramble. Got to get out of there. Wilson dancing around, gets hit from behind. Wow.
Flem, that is not the call I was expecting to see out of Andy Ludwig, but I give him some credit to be aggressive when everybody in the stadium thinks it's going to be a run play. TCU, though, did a great job covering down on the wide receivers. Absolutely nowhere to go with the football down the field. Wilson does a good job of getting out of the end zone and getting some positive yards.
2nd and 6. Little more breathing room now. Under center again. Handoff. Bernard straight ahead. Bernard gets toppled over, trying to get away, and might have had a big gain if he could have. He gets 2.
Well, this is a really big 3rd down here for the young quarterback. You know, and it's so easy to feel like you need to press in this moment, and you absolutely have to make a play. And yes, I'm sure the Utah offense would love a 1st down, keep this drive going. But there's still over 10 minutes to go in this football game. You have all 3 timeouts. So as a young quarterback, be smart in this situation. Get the football out of your hands. And unless you have a clear picture, just be smart with the football.
Wilson, pressure got picked up. Throws, and it is caught! A contested catch! Could have been Singer, could have been James. It was Dorian Singer who ripped the ball away.
What an unbelievable 3rd down pickup for the Utes. Isaac Wilson keeping his eyes downfield against pressure. You're going to see Johnny Hodges blitz right down the middle of the screen. Bernard picks it up. And then Dorian Singer uses all of his frame to shield off the defender, James. And that's probably the biggest 3rd down pickup tonight for Utah. What a play.
I'm going to vote it the biggest 3rd down pickup. It's only their 2nd. 36 yards. We've had 2 spectacular catches. A little fake trick play, and TCU was not tricked. Money Parks got demolished and lost 5.
That's Abe Kamara coming up. Normally plays nickelback for TCU. He's played a ton of football for the Horned Frogs. Very savvy defensive back. Taking on the block with Keithy. Doing a great job of getting off of that block and forcing the tackle for a loss and getting the Utes off schedule.
It's the 7th tackle for loss by the TCU defense. So 2nd and 15 coming up. Under 9 minutes to go. Wilson throws it quickly. Keithy stayed on his feet and got 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, that's a big time tackle by safety Bud Clark. If he doesn't come up and get Keithy, Keithy's going to take that for a big time play. TCU elects to bring pressure, so there's really nobody there in that 2nd level if Bud Clark doesn't make that play to force the 3rd down.
So it's 3rd down, not and 6, 3rd and 11. And remember the negative play on 1st down. Wilson in the pocket. Now going backwards. Wilson buying some time. He's going to run. Cuts it back to the middle of the field, and he got close. Man, he got so close that I think Utah will consider going for it here. What a scramble that was for a positive gain of 9.
Absolutely. No decision here for Kyle Whittingham. What a gutsy run by the quarterback, Wilson. Little cat and mouse game going on pre-snap. TCU shows pressure, so Wilson makes an audible to protect himself and create max protection. Well, with that, you get 2 less guys out into the route concept. Your tight end running back stay in the block. Nowhere to go with the football, but a great run to make it 4th and short.
Under center, Wilson. They need 2. Wilson, play fake. Wilson is going to throw deep, and it is intercepted. Bud Clark comes away with the ball.
What a sequence by the TCU defense. I liked the decision by Utah to go for it on 4th down, but TCU just did a tremendous job. Nowhere to go with the football. Travis Broughton took away the halfback early in the play. You're just trying to outflank the defense with your tailback, but Broughton did a great job of diagnosing it. Here's Broughton, and you're going to see the halfback just try to win with speed, and then the tight end's on a corner route. Nowhere to go with the football in this play. And you know what? Wilson did the best thing that he possibly could. He couldn't run for the first down, couldn't throw for the first down. So he gave his tight end a chance to make a play, and that's just as good as a punt.
It basically is the equivalent of a 31-yard punt. Now a direct snap to Cook, who might have run into his own blocker and then got knocked to the ground by Samote Pepa. 2nd down for the Horned Frogs. We've had 2 field flips from the 3 to the 2, from the 2 to the 17. Pepa, who made that play, slow to get up. Already has that left ankle taped. Well, for TCU, you get 6:39 on the clock. I know Utah has those timeouts. You smartly pointed that out, but they have a chance here to force Utah to use those timeouts and maybe even put this game away.
This is a really big moment for the TCU offense. They talked about during their bye week last week how they wanted to become a more physical team. So they had really physical practices rather than taking time off during that bye. Well, you're on the road against a conference opponent that prides themselves on their physicality. Can you win up front in the 4th quarter with your offensive line to put the football game away?
Williams takes the snap. Savion Williams. He's so tough to bring down across the 20 out to close to the 24-yard line, where it's going to be 3rd and maybe 3.
This has been a really good package for TCU tonight, lining up Williams at quarterback and letting him run the football. It's had a lot of success. If I'm TCU in this moment, you got to find your go-to target, Jack Besh. Having a phenomenal year, number 18 at the top of your screen on the numbers.
Hoover takes a snap. Hoover looks middle and incomplete. He had Richardson there, and he missed him. So now it's 4th down. The clock stops, and Utah's defense, maybe with some help, comes up with a hold.
You're right, Flem. Josh Hoover had him. Let's go up to Jack Besh first. That's initially where Josh Hoover went with his eyes. He saw that Besh didn't win initially, so he comes back to a slot receiver, J.P. Richardson, who in a lot of ways has been his go-to target on 3rd down, and just flat out missed the throw. If he gets that football out in front of J.P., J.P. is running and hitting his head on the goalpost.
Fairly short punt, fair catch made by Utah. Inside the 40, Josh Hoover, he made a lot of good plays in the...
Hasn't changed. He has the same routine as he gets down to the bench. Brock, for you, do you feel like it's surprising he's had this poise as a freshman?
Well, you know, it is a little bit surprising, but when you talk to people around this program, they say he's got a lot of moxie and confidence.
How's that for moxie? Takes a hit, delivers a hit. Into TCU territory, the quarterback run for Wilson, and a gain of 15.
I tell you what, he's growing up before our eyes tonight, making some great plays here in the 2nd half. Excellent read on the zone read to keep the football, showing off his athleticism.
This game almost defies description. Utah has the ball. They're in TCU territory. If they score a touchdown and kick an extra point, they will have the lead. I mean, there were times where it felt like they couldn't get a yard. Under center, Wilson, 1st and 10. Bernard, and TCU has defended him so well tonight.
You know, and to Sherry's point on Wilson, you know, he's just so stoic the way he plays the game. But don't get yourself wrong. He's his biggest critic. You know, he wants to be great. He evaluates himself harder than anybody. But when he's out here on the field, he's a fantastic leader. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. And that's what you want out of your quarterback.
2nd and 8 for Utah. They're being deliberate in terms of the tempo. So the clock continues to bleed off. Play fake, another play fake, and a screen thrown. And a cut up field down to the 45. Another play, that was Bernard with the catch. More good defense from TCU. All this misdirection, and the Horned Frogs have not been fooled.
Yeah, that was really good defense by cornerback Travis Broughton to force the tight end screen back inside, which allowed Johnny Hodges to fly from the middle linebacker position to force the tackle and ultimately make it a 3rd and 7. You're right, Flem. This TCU defense, they've shown some really good stuff tonight.
3rd down and 7 for Utah. Wilson going to check down to the left. It's 1-on-2. A little hesitation move, and then Bernard gets shoved out of bounds. But he did get 3 or 4 yards. So now 4th down, and presumably Utah will go for it.
Yeah, you got to go for it. You know, the clock's winding down. You're approaching 3 minutes to go in the ball game. You don't know if you'll get another chance to touch the football. So this is a really good call by Kyle Whittingham to go for it here on 4th down. And if I'm the Utah Utes, I'm either going to my tight end, Brant Keithy, 3-time all-conference tight end, or I'm going to go down to Dorian Singer down here in the slot.
4th down. They need 5. Wilson. Is going to heave it downfield into coverage, knocked away, incomplete. 2nd time in a row that Utah's had to do that on a 4th down play. This time not intercepted, and that helps the Horned Frogs because they take over close to midfield.
What a great stop for the Horned Frogs defense. There might have been a chance early in that play to get the football out of your hands. You're going to see an opportunity here, just trying to create a little rub play with the cornerback. If Wilson lets go of the football right away, there's a chance that there's a catch and run with Money Parks for the 1st down. It's going to be a bang-bang play. The cornerback did a great job of playing over top and then getting back into phase. But that was probably your best look at getting the football out of your hand for a completion.
The problem for Utah is not only do they not convert, but they use 3 minutes off the clock. They have all 3 of their timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout. That's Battle who gets the carry straight ahead, and Kyle Whittingham will have to burn the first of those timeouts. In essence, TCU knows they're a 1st down away from winning this game. Now that Utah's having to burn those timeouts. When we're finished, we've got SportsCenter immediately after us with all the news from around college football. In the SEC, Alabama and Texas both losing. Missouri's quarterback, that was an incredible story, went to the hospital and then came back and led a 4th quarter comeback win on homecoming in Columbia. Juan Soto with a monstrous home run to send the Yankees to the World Series for the 1st time in a long time. All that and more when we're finished.
A lot of great moments in sports today.
No kidding. And Isaac Wilson hoping that he'll have a chance for one more. I mean, you had an unbelievable last-minute game-winning drive last night in Provo. Not that far from here. On 2nd down and 6.
If you're TCU, you have to keep the football on the ground.
Battle with the carry, and he'll go down. Got to the line of scrimmage. Gets tackled there by Gilman. Another timeout used by Kyle Whittingham. It's 3rd and 6 coming up.
30 seconds.
And everybody knows the stakes of this play.
No question. And here's where my mindset changes if I'm the offensive coordinator, Kendall Briles. You know, last play you had to run the football. You needed Utah to burn another one of their timeouts. But here, Sonny Dykes has to make a decision. Do you run the football to try to pick up the first down, force Utah to burn another timeout, put the game on your defense to stop Isaac Wilson? Or do you throw the football, try to pick up a fresh set of downs, and basically put the game on ice?
TCU has not converted a 3rd down in the second half, not one. If they do it here, it's not officially over, but it's a huge step in that direction.
If I'm Sonny Dykes, I'm putting the football in Josh Hoover's hands. He's played an excellent football game tonight, and I'm going to let him make a good decision to try to pick up a first down and all but finish this football game.
Lots of motion, including Williams coming in the backfield. They may snap it to Savion Williams. We'll see. They do. Williams is going to go left, trying to turn the corner. Cuts back middle. Williams gets tackled, and he's short. Not by much, but he is short by about a yard.
3rd and final charge timeout. Utah.
And Utah uses their final
30
timeout.
seconds.
Now you got Sonny Dykes. It's his turn to try to make a decision.
Well, and this is why he gets paid the big bucks, because you have a monster decision here. Do you go for it? And if you get the first down, the game's done. You can take 3 knees and the game is over. TCU, you go back to Fort Worth with a win. But if you don't pick it up, if you go for it, now you give Isaac Wilson, who's really struggled the majority of the night to move the football, a short field.
I mean, I have to think they're going to go for it.
I think this is a statement moment for the Horned Frogs. I agree with you, Flem. You go for it here. You know, you have 2 conference losses already. The way the Big 12's been going, 2 losses doesn't necessarily keep you out of the title game. This is kind of a make or break moment for your season.
And it might be Williams again. We'll see. 4th down, game on the line. Williams right alongside Hoover. They need a yard. TCU snaps it to Williams. Left side, he'll get the first down. And that'll take it to the 2-minute timeout. What a run and what a night on the ground for Savion Williams. Utah's not been able to stop that play.
Savion Williams, 7 carries tonight for 7. Definitely where your eyes initially go, but there's just so much football to be played in this conference. And if we've learned one thing about the Big 12, it's going to be wild every weekend. Think about BYU. We just mentioned about them being undefeated. Well, they needed a late drive in the game last night against Oklahoma State, who's really struggling to get a win at home. And then Iowa State, you know, another great finish late in the game this week. So Big 12, a lot of fun to watch. Who knows who's going to be on top at the end? But what I do know, TCU getting a win here tonight, only 2 conference losses. They are still within the chase to play for the Big 12 title.
And I know that it was not pretty, and TCU fans probably are moaning a little bit about how the second half went after they really dominated the first half. But this is a good road win, even against a compromised Utah team.
Great road win coming out of a bye week. And you're right, Flem. You weren't great on 3rd down tonight. You had some other issues at times, a few self-inflicted penalties. But I think the bright spot coming out of the game for the Horned Frogs is Josh Hoover. He came into a hostile environment against a very good defense and protected the football, something that he's had an issue with in the prior couple weeks, throwing 4 interceptions in the last 2 games.
So one more knee to go here for TCU to make it official. There it is. And now everybody will head toward the middle of the field, and TCU can celebrate a hard-fought and tough win on the road against a Utah team that dug deep and found a way to make it competitive. But TCU bounces back from a tough loss at home, uses their